Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Well, besides the grunting, we'd love to obviously see your shop. I've never been to your shop. Alan's never been to your shop. And
I apologize ahead of time.
okay, well, don't start cleaning now then. We'll get the real Steve, with the real Pure Vision.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a drift wagon every time?
This guy always suck up this much? What the
He's new.
7 years is pretty new.
So he used to work in the shop, and he was so good at his job that we pulled him up, and we're like, "Hey, you need to come work up here."
Where was he? Sweeping?
No, he was in shipping.
Oh, is he
mostly, right?
We're shipping starts.
Look at that.
That's right. I do say
It's that packaging I was talking
It's
about
that
earlier.
amazing packaging that he's got to go do when he gets back or something.
He's not doing it anymore.
Oh, he's not going to package
He's
anymore?
moved on from that.
Are we filming this?
Yeah.
Are you filming the magic? Yeah. Oh, you're filming the magic. Patrick from HRE.
The usual grunt and greet.
Right. Hi. So we'll make this simple. They've already been here filming for a little while. And I, as the shop owner, hi, I'm Steve, and I own a little place in Simi Valley, California called Pure Vision. And we've built a couple of real neato cars, gosh darn it. So we're building a new car, which is called Haraka. It's a 70 Roadrunner. And once again, I am very, very honored we have HRE Wheels involved with us. And hey, and this is your main man
Sorry,
in
I'm
charge.
late.
This is Alan. So he would be the presidente. And then we're not sure what Patrick does, but he does
A lot more
lots
than
of
me.
He does a lot of important things.
Body double.
So why they're even up here is actually they brought a bunch of whiz-bangy cool tools that I'd actually never seen before because I build cars in a barn, obviously, on measuring for backspacing and fitment. And there's more than just backspacing. There's clearing over the brake calipers. There's making sure that the back of the rim doesn't hit the face of the caliper, making sure that the tires turn in the front totally and don't hit the inner fender. And all that stuff's kind of important when you're building a car that's 6 and 7 figures. Actually, it's important when the car's worth nothing. You don't want to hit and rub and damage things. So they're up doing that today to ensure that the wheels they're going to make for this car actually have perfect fit. And it's also their first time to my shop, so I've been showing them around.
How many cars have we done? Sorry.
No,
Well, we started 11 years ago, which is frightening.
We're getting old, dude.
With the, yes. What's this wee shit?
I'm getting old.
With the twin turbo Camaro, which that was our first little endeavor together, and then that won the GM Design Award at SEMA, car of the show, and upstaged your Ferrari.
It's okay. It's okay.
And then the next wonderful big hitter was Joe Rogan's Nova, which I was just on Rogan's program talking about, and really honored with that because that car Is one of 5 cars in the world to ever be on the cover of Hot Rod 3 times, and twice it had the wheels on it, which is wonderful. And we've got 2 in-house right now. The one is the one we're here measuring for, Haraka, and then behind me there's a 67 Corvette Roadster that we're also doing wheels on that. I have a lot of what-if theories on a lot of cars I've built. Even the twin-turbo Camaro was if GM kind of went the pattern of an Aston Martin. A lot higher taste, a lot more fit and finish, nicer quality materials, that kind of thing. And it worked. In fact, it worked so well, GM said, car of the show at SEMA. In fact, that was one of the biggest compliments I've received, because when we were on the stage and they were talking, the guy awarding said that the judging staff kept using the word restraint. The car had a lot of restraint, which is crazy for a car that had a Tom Nelson 1300 horse twin turbo motor, but everything else was very
easy
subtle.
to go too far. Exactly. It's so easy to do too much. You know, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? We see that all the time. It's like, dude, just stop. You're going too far.
I agree fully. So this car is kind of a mixture of some new modern parts and pieces and materials, and also bringing in some things from the world of fashion as a tasteful addition.
Like clothing fashion?
Yes, and it's not the part of the car, it's one of the things that another thing I love hearing is people call the cars Easter eggs. So you keep finding, which means nothing hits you in the face, you kept finding things, right? And so this will be one of those, the way we're doing the interior, the way we're doing some of the external trim, and some of the materials we're using on the intake and other things. We're doing a version that has never been done before, but the cool spin is it's buried in Chrysler performance background. So the things Mopar guys are going to look at it and stuff will be immediately familiar, but hey, they never. And so this car will be chock full of that. And that's what I love to do. I love to bring in this stuff to go, ooh, did you see that? And this car will have a lot of that. So working with my painter, Mick Jenkins, one of the best in the country, with PPG, our sponsor for paints, and we've got a color that I'm calling Inkwell Violet. So it's a very dark, purpley purple blue with some really beautiful little red and blue mica in it. Not in direct sunlight, you won't even see that. So there's that, and I'm working with my interior guy, Gabe's, and a leather place out of Italy, and we're doing some really cool stuff with the interior. Again, it's not the whole interior. It's
tasteful.
Yeah, inserts and other little pieces.
And that's what the fashion's coming in.
Yeah, little pieces there, and I'm also pulling in different textures, as I showed you earlier, stuff from the faces of watches, stuff from different things like that, that just add, the more you look, you're like, oh, I like that, right? So a lot of focus on that with the car. And there's been tons and tons of modifications and changes. The whole engine bay has been completely redone, but when you open the hood, anybody that knows, Mopars or B-bodies, they'll recognize all of it. The shapes are still familiar. It's not smoothed, rolled panels hiding everything. It's all still there, but it's all extremely cleaned up and smoothed up, and edges are welded and they're smooth, and so everything's just that much nicer.
I think it's easier for you with your background. I'm like an engineer, so for me to when you come down to HRE and you tell us all these, you tell me these things that you're doing with the car and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I can't put it together, And so when I see your cars when they're done, you're like, oh my gosh.
No, I get it.
You totally did this. But you show me these textures and you show me these things, and I'm just like, that sounds crazy. And then when I see it, it's like, oh, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, it's that blending of stuff, and also knowing, as you had said, which I agree with, when to say when. You bring a little of it in here, and you use this as which you would understand, an accent point. It's almost, why does that look good? It doesn't glare out at you. It's like, that looks good to me. I don't know why, but it does, and that's usage of colors and textures.
We literally say that all the time about our wheels. We're like, you look at it, and you look at a competitor wheel, and you don't know why the HRE is better, but there's something about it, and you can just tell, right?
And I agree with that.
And we know why.
Right.
But it's hard for somebody who doesn't design wheels to understand what it is that's about, what about it is better. And it's just all the refinement, all the detail, and all these other things we put into it,
Right.
right? And that's
Well,
where
the
you get
funny
that
thing
extra
is
pop, right?
because it's natural. I came to you guys on, like, say, on the twin turbo Camaro. I came to you guys on purpose. Love that phone ringing, huh? This is a quality soundstage right here. So,
I didn't even notice it.
You piped that in, right?
but the interesting is you don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
Because I had never worked with you before.
Yeah.
I reached out because, remember, I said on the Camaro project, I based it on like the Aston Martin quality of stuff, right? That European, it's a true GT car. It's not a crazy hyper psycho car. It's classy. It's something you get in and drive for hundreds of miles. It's got loads of horsepower and handling and braking, but yet it's reserved. And so I wanted that theme throughout. And externally, quite honestly, besides the body and the color of the body, it's the wheels. So I immediately came to you guys because as far as I was concerned, you were the product that said that to me.
Yeah.
There's a million other wheel companies that I'm friends with that
Yeah.
make really cool wheels, but they don't say that Aston Martin, that panache. I said, I know who makes those wheels. HRE makes those wheels. And obviously my assessment was correct because the car did very, very well. Again, on Rogan's car, I wanted a really attractive wheel, but a clean, simple, bold 5-spoke that wouldn't really date ever. And again, the wheel that we chose, it works on the car, and it won't look weird 20 years from now. And so, again, on this, the very specific wheel that I talked with you about, and then let's go with wait till the 3-piece is available. It has enough intricacies. I wanted, because the Roadrunner is a big slab-sided rectangle. If you were teaching kindergartners to draw a car, this is it. One big long rectangle and a small rectangle on the top, right? Look at it, right? So it's
There's a little more subtlety than that.
It's a lot sexier than that.
but nevertheless,
There are some cars out there on the road now that look like that. This isn't one of them.
This is not a Mura.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. That's very
so for me, being and just so I don't get crucified, I love 70 Roadrunners, or else I wouldn't be building one. So take it easy. When I was looking for a wheel, I wanted intricacies. I wanted something of interest that had kind of a bolder pattern, because otherwise.
I think the 520 is a good choice because it's got enough detail, but it's not overdone. And
right.
so
And for me, it's got an open pattern that
Yeah.
allows me for my brake sponsors for Wilwood to be seen nice and clear through all the windows. So it does a bunch of stuff for me, but I wanted a clean, interesting wheel that had...
That wheel is actually meant to be a little bit period, but it has enough modern sort of detail in it that you can tell that we did it now.
Too.
You know,
that 5-star pattern that drops in, I like that. It looks good.
Oh yeah.
So again, I felt that was a good choice for where I was going with this car. Again, higher end, molding in some fashion stuff, molding in that reserved taste stuff. You know, so again, I called upon you guys because you're perfect for it. And on the Corvette, we're lightly bowing the quarter panel and we're moving a section of the frame rail in so we can fit a much wider tire than factory. But when it's all done, you can't tell that we did anything to it. So it's going to be the new Aston Martin Iridescent Emerald, which is like a sage silvery green.
Oh, nice.
And the wheel we're going to do a gold center on, and that's what one's that? That's like the 20 spokes, right?
S209H.
Right. And you know what what I went looking for? I went looking for a wheel that's like Alpine, the BMW.
Many spokes.
And I love that. I love those cars, and I wanted that on this because, again, stone stock bodywork as far as everyone's concerned. A very tasteful, reserved color. I wanted some interest without being dizzying, right? And again, it's that you guys had the perfect wheel for where I wanted to go. I chose them both on purpose, very on purpose, for each of the builds, for how I want people to look at it. For me, people build cars differently. I build each design is what emotion I want to invoke. You know, you can build something that's really badass and angry looking. You can build something that's really classy. So it's how do I want, literally, what emotion do I want the bystander to get when he looks at it? How does he want to perceive the car?
And the difference between like Rogan's Nova, in terms of like what that looks like and the wheel choice, versus what this will look like.
Oh, completely different car.
Completely different car. And I think the way you want them to look is exactly how you've designed them.
Yep, and again, how I wanted somebody to think and feel when they looked at Rogan's Nova is very different than how I want them to think and feel looking at.
We were talking about the color and the wheels. Like you should show them the photo, but.
Oh yeah,
it's gorgeous.
That mirrors kind of, you know, when we're coming up with a new series, like there's a certain market, there's a certain mentality, there's a certain feel that we're trying to get when we create a series, right? We're not just like throwing stuff on the wall, like, oh yeah, that design, that. Like, no, like we very deliberately go, hey, we want to do something for this market, and we want it to feel like this. We want you to remember, if we're doing something a little bit vintage or something, we're like, remember when you were falling in love with wheels? We want them to look like that. Or if it's something brand new, we want it to be like this or whatever. And so, you know, all of that emotion and all of that stuff goes into our design philosophy when we're creating new designs. So it's nice to see that somebody appreciates it.
Yeah, I know, I do. But the thing is when I go head hunting for a wheel, it's on purpose. It's not so it's neato or cool. It's part of the visual. It's the other half of the visual package of how I want people to react when they look at the car. And that's the rim style and design, and then the color of the wheel. It either blends or it contrasts or however that's going to happen. And that changes how people feel about it too. If it's a muted center, if it's a polished center, if it's machine surfaces, it changes how the car looks, which change how people feel. They don't understand it. When you pull them a ton of people, they don't say, I feel. They just go, I like that. Why? Well, I don't know, it's cool. You know? So does it make you happy? Yeah, I really like, you know. So that's how I approach it. How I want it to make people feel. How I want the owner to feel, obviously, because he's most important. And how I want to come across with my idea, whatever it is. Earlier we were looking at the Martini Mustang, and that car is clearly a very defined theme. A what if Ford went European road rally racing with Martini as a sponsor, the Martini livery, and using all these neat Ford parts and pieces, and a very rare Ford race motor that, you know, what if Ford, after they won Indy with it, well, now we want to put it on the road and test it other ways. We'll drop it in one of these. So all the decisions are corralled by the what if. There's nothing on that car that doesn't look like it should have or could have been from that era or used by them for whatever the purpose is. So that's really important. And fast forwarding to Haraka or the Corvette, all the decisions on these cars, whether it be interior or stitch patterns or whatever it is, there's a corralled theme that I'm like, this is how I want everything. Everywhere you look represents this idea, right? And the two biggest, again, were color and then the wheels. Then everything else blends off of that, because this is the first impact. This is 200 feet away, what you're getting first, right? What's bringing you in, what's sucking you in, what's interesting you. And then I want, by the time you're up to the door and you're going in, you're like, woo, and I open up the hood and you go, woo, and there's more and more to find. After you're past the first wow, you're at the, whoa, did you see that little thing? So I like it to keep going to finite. This is neat, that's neater, that's really cool. Wow, I even had to look for that. So nothing's in your face, everything's part of the package. And I think a lot of people miss that when they're doing something for themselves. They don't have to own a shop or having, you know, customers or anything. But you need to, I think, having a plan for anything. I mean, building a birdhouse, have a plan. The good idea is no nails that don't go through, so the bird, you know, scrapes his head on the nail on the inside of the house. You know, think it through.
It's kind of what we say. We spend a lot of time just refining
and that's where part of the financial investment goes, and that's why the wheel costs that more. There's more steps that gives you that look, that image, that finish, and the quality of the materials, right?
That's the thing. When people are like, oh, we have the same as this, or we have the same as HRE as this, it's like, yeah, but you have to have all of it. You have to have all of the stuff. You have to have all the people. You have to have all the stuff.
And I
It's not
understand
this one thing. It's not this thing. It's not that thing. It's
And that's
all
why
of
I
it.
choose
It's
them,
all
though,
of
because
it.
I understand that. And it gives me what I want my cars to have as a finished visual.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to me for that. I seek that out
Yeah.
as part of the design.
That's the best sound. Yeah. Hot mic, hot mic. It's all right. We won't tell him. We won't remind him. This is the best things, I think. With the flush.